Yeah, that is a huge. There are a couple of really, really large ones. The dinner bell.
They know that sound.
It doesn't look like a lot of food for all of them.
Oh yeah. To my way. Backing up.
Why don't you move back?
We start in just a second.
That is quite a head that guy has.
Oh my god. You'll see in a second.
Oh, kéo chân này đâu?
Wait, don't chicken.
Chân better.
Yeah, I kept on saying. All right, good morning, everyone. How's everybody out there doing today? Good, awesome. All right, well, I know you can get a little louder than that. There's a lot of you guys out there. How's everyone doing? Awesome. Much, much better. Thank you, guys. Well, welcome to Alligator Adventure. If you haven't met me yet today, my name is Kelsey. To my right is my good friend Michelle. We're both zookeepers here. We're going to be your feeding hosts for this morning's show. But before we get started, I have 2 park-wide rules to go over with all you guys just to ensure your guys' safety. So the first rule is we just don't allow anybody to have any kids up on the shoulders. We just don't want an accidental push or shove into you and have your little, have your little youngsters get too close to an encounter with these hungry alligators here. You are able to hold your child up on your side though, so they can still get a good view, just not up on the shoulders. And then we also don't allow anybody to be sitting or standing on these lower wooden fences, just for the same reason. We just don't want anybody to get too close to an encounter with these guys. That would pretty much be a damper on your day. So we just don't want that to happen to you guys. So just for all your guys' safety, so we're gonna make a quick scan around, make sure everybody's good. Check back here, we're all good? All right, cool. Thank you guys for doing that. We really appreciate it. So now we can get started with the feeding. So what are all around us here are what are called American alligators. There are about, on average, 100,000 wild American alligators just in the state of South Carolina alone. The location range for these guys, you can find them up in North Carolina, all the way south to Florida, and as west as Texas. So there are 2 types of alligator species in the world. There are the American alligators, which we have hundreds of here at the park for you guys to take a look at, and what are also called Chinese alligators, which are found in Asia, but we do have examples of those up at the front of the park, located right next to the bobcat exhibit. So definitely show them some love while you're here. Those guys are highly endangered. There's only about 200 of them out in the wild. So who knows how much longer they're going to be around. So definitely take a look at them while you guys are here, while you have the chance. And they are a lot different than these guys. These guys, the females grow on average between 8 to 9 feet long. Males in between 13 to 15 feet long. But those Chinese alligators, they only grow up to about 6 feet long in size when they're full grown. So definitely go take a look at them. You can see the size comparison and the body structure compared to these American alligators that are in front of us. So what we're feeding these guys, I heard somebody ask before the show started, it's raw chicken. It's a really gross, smelly situation for us, but these guys love the smell, and they especially love the taste. And we're able to feed them raw chicken because these guys have great immune systems and digestive systems that they're able to break down the raw chicken, and they're not affected by salmonella or any other kind of bacteriums like we were to be if we were to eat raw meat. So yeah, there's really good internal systems to be able to digest it so it's not harmful or make them really sick. So you also, guys, you probably think that these monstrous looking reptiles eat a lot more than we do. And I thought the same thing until I started working here to find that that's actually not true. So these guys on average only eat about 75 pounds of food per year, where the average human eats anywhere between 250 to 300 pounds of food per year. So we really need to recharge our bodies a lot more. We use about 80% of the energy that we have to metabolize and break down our food, where these guys only use about 20% of that energy to break down their food. So they don't have to recharge their bodies as often as we do. We're very high maintenance. We gotta have breakfast, lunch, and dinner, goodies and snacks and milkshakes all in between. So by the time we've fully digested a full meal, we're hungry and ready for another one. So one piece of chicken for these guys is actually a good enough time to last them about a full week. So these guys actually go months at a time in the wild without eating anything at all. They go through what's called a semi-hibernation period. It's their dormancy period, and it starts in October and goes to about early April. That's when the sun isn't as strong. These guys are cold-blooded animals, so they really need to rely on the sun's energy to use for their own energy to absorb it. So during that time, they're not gaining a lot of energy since the sun isn't strong, nor are they using a lot of energy. Their main focus is just try to keep their bodies as warm as possible. So they go several months at a time without eating at all. And if you notice how they're jumping, these guys have been trained to jump up for the food here. It's not a natural behavior for these guys to jump very much out in the wild, but they need to use it here so they can reach the food that we're feeding them for your guys' entertainment as well. And it is really, really fun to do. We just have to make sure we're really safe. But if you notice, they're using that tail. And that tail is actually the second strongest muscle in their body. They use that to lift their bodies up. And they also use that tail to swing around as well and balance their bodies as they're maneuvering through the water. And they're also jumping up. I don't know if you happen to hear a good popping sound from one of these big guys. I'll try and get this one right in front of me. So if you hear that popping sound, I'll be quiet for a second, see if you can hear it. He didn't do it. But you'll hear that popping sound, that is their jaw pressure. So these guys have about 2,000 pounds per square inch of bite force. They have one of the strongest bites in the animal kingdom, and that is enough force to crush a cinder block to dust in one single bite. So they have a really weak jaw opening force, but an extremely strong jaw closing force. So that's when you hear that popping sound. They're also, that's enough force to crush a tortoise shell to dust in one bite as well. So those big galapagos tortoises right up at the front of the park, located right next to the bobcats, these guys would pretty much destroy those shells in one single bite. If you guys have any questions, we're going to be hanging out right at the albino house, right on the side of it after the show, just so you guys don't have to yell across to us, and just in case we can't hear you guys very well. Definitely come hang out with us after the show, and we'd be more than happy to talk to you guys. There you go, you heard that popping sound right there. That was a good example. And I'm actually down to my last 2 pieces of chicken. But I'll let you guys know how these guys feed out in the wild. With those good internal systems, these guys eat about 50% dead food already from dead, rotten carcasses of animals. Since they have those good internal systems to be able to digest that food, or those carcasses, because these guys are very, very lazy, and that's more bang for their buck because they don't have to waste the energy to attack and kill the animal. The other 50%, they use what's called an ambush tactic. So if you notice, their eyes and nose are located right at the top of their face. So they won't do a full-on chase. It's a lot of energy for them to use, it takes a lot of time, and they'll get really exhausted afterwards. So they will use what is called the ambush tactic. So they will wait for a deer, a waterfowl, or anything like that to come up to a riverbed to get a drink of water. These guys will have their bodies completely submerged, a couple feet away from the riverbed, nice and camouflaged with the murky water, still having their eyes and nose exposed so they can still see and breathe. So when they catch that animal off guard, these guys will burst out of the water, grab the animal, give it a couple signature death rolls by crushing all of the bones in their body so it's easier for them to chew and digest. So that is their main tactic of attacking their live prey out in the wild. So I have one piece left. I'll try and give it to one of these bigger guys here. Get a nice good jump for you guys. But we will have a reptile handling show at 12 o'clock, located in those green bleachers right next to the snack bar. And then we'll have another feeding show at 1 o'clock, located on the main boardwalk. It's location number 9 on your map. So definitely check that out if you guys are still in the park. So thank you again, Michelle, for helping me. Thanks, guys, for coming to our show. We hope you guys have a great rest of the day at Alligator Adventure. Thank you, guys.